What's up? Back in the shop working on the C30. Just a couple small projects I want to try to get buttoned up this weekend. It's just stuff that I've been being a little lazy about. Just needs to get buttoned up. Some rear suspension stuff. I want to get shocks mounted all the way around, and I'd like to get the exhaust built at least to the back of the cab. Then I had to steal some parts off of this truck. It's stuff that I wanted to upgrade on the 55, but it's good stuff coming off, so I'm going to use it on this truck. Okay, this might get a little bit nerdy for a second, so just hang with me. So the rear suspension is done. It operates perfectly fine, but being that it's a two-link, there's nothing to keep the axle located in the frame or centered. If you were to build, say, a triangulated four-link, your two upper bars would fight each other to keep the axle centered. With a trailing arm or a parallel four-link, you need something to keep the axle centered. So you can use a Watts link, which is two bars on a center pivot, and they kind of work like the triangulated, where they fight each other to keep everything true. The hands down easiest way to do this is a panhard bar, but it has one big downfall, and that is the deformation through the range of motion. So let me explain. It's actually very simple. If you have a short bar, you have to think of it as a circle. Your farthest point is obviously flat in this whole setup. The more you go through the sweep around the circumference of that circle, the more it's going to deform the rear end and pull it off to the side. So to alleviate a lot of pulling, which is very stressful on the front bushings, you make the bar longer. The longer you can make the bar, the less of that circle you're using through the whole range of motion. So instead of, say, using, through the whole range of motion, it might be 25 degrees or so. Maybe a little bit more, probably quite a bit more than that. On a short bar, that would pull a lot, but on a very long bar, you wouldn't need to use 25 degrees. You may only be using 12 or 15. So the longer the bar, the less degrees in your circumference of the circle, and that therefore less deformation through the range of motion on the rear suspension. Cool. Was that confusing? It was probably really confusing, but it's just a longer bar for a panhard bar is better. There. So let's build it. So I have some cardboard brackets cut out. Notice how low and far out the frame side is, and how high the axle side is. I may actually move this inside to get a little bit more length on the bar. I was worried about clearance to the frame rail. You'll also notice that right now laid out, the bar would be crooked, and that's what you want. You want your frame side lower than your axle side, so that when you're at ride height, everything is square. So I want this bar, when the truck is at its ride height, which is going to spend most of its life driving, I want that bar zeroed out, level with the axle, because that puts that bar end at the farthest point in that sweep. All right, tabs are all made, bars all made, it looks good. This is actually made out of those two link bars that I had there. Those were both 24-inch. My overall length here is 39 inches. You see how nice and low that is? That's a pretty stout bracket there. So this one is gonna get cut off about right here. So that's never gonna be an interference issue. Obviously, the right side is going to get cut off back here. So let me get these burned on, and I can work on shocks. Well, time kind of got away from me tonight. I ended up spending quite a bit more time on the panhard bar than I really wanted to, but I guess I kind of wanted to overbuild it. Let's take a look at what we got. So this is all capped and gusseted and fully welded now, both sides. And I kind of started fiddling with the shock mounts a little bit. Those are going to be pretty simple. Shock mounts there. It's going to be a bolt through the link bar with a spacer to the other side. Super simple. Tomorrow, I'm going to get the shocks buttoned up. I need to cut this carrier bearing riser and drill the holes in the correct spots. And then front shocks, and the rear end is coming out because I have a lot of finish welding to do on the rear end and the notches, and basically anything on the underside needs welded still. So we'll see you tomorrow. It's a new day, but I still look the same. So I don't want to be out here all day today. I was out here way too late last night. So I have a short list of things that I need to get done. Rear end needs to come back out. Got to do some finish welding on it. Link bars need to come out. I had to cut them, do some finish welding on them. I drill a couple holes for shocks and for bag mounts. And by the end of the day, the link bars will be completely done, welded. The rear end will be completely welded, reinstalled, shocks done, bags done, and then I want to go find something to do with the wife tonight because I feel like we haven't had the chance to hang out very much lately. So I'm going to shut up and get to work. Got everything welded, put back in. Everything sits great. It all fell right back into place, so that is a good sign. Nothing's gonna fight, you know, when it goes for final assembly. Last thing is the shocks. Let's see if my on-the-fly math was right. Oh, it kind of looks like it. Nobody in the entire state of Ohio on a Sunday morning has 9/16 bolts, so I'm sure some of you know where the pink bolts come from. 14 millimeters. Where's my bolts? Looking for my hardware. Here we go. Also, nobody had 9/16 or 14 millimeter spacers, so I guess some big nuts are going to be the spacers for now. I should probably check to see if these are even long enough. Oh, they're just going to be long enough. This is the longest bolt that the Rural King had. Okay. Washer. Lock washer. Nut. I think we're gonna go this way. Probably have to go down a little bit with the rear or with the suspension. I went too far. What do you know? So, let's see, is one of those going to be enough? Let's see. Yes. Let me grab a couple washers real quick. Okay, I think one big nut and 2 washers is going to be the correct combination for right now. We're going to go washers first. You know what? Maybe we'll go washer, nut, washer. Why not make it extra confusing just for mock-up? Sounds good. Oh, perfect. Should probably put a washer on the outside. We'll come back to that. All right. Next. Oh, come on. What's going on here? Okay. Washer. Lock washer. This. Well, this one looks like it's just going to be the nut. Man, these shocks are stiff. That one's a little bit tight. I wonder why. I don't know. Let me air it out. Let's see what happens here. Oh, now it gets a little bit more room. Perfect. So when I aired that out, that shock pulled away from the frame and the other side pulled towards the frame, which tells me that's just an adjustment issue in the rear end. I need to pull the axle over to the one side. And, that's super simple. You just adjust the panhard bar. This thing fell back together without any measurement. I just kind of slid bolts in. So I probably do need to square the rear end up. I'll do that, definitely for final assembly. I'm really not worried about it right now because I'm not going to be driving the truck as it is. It's going to have to come apart one more time anyway. So I'm super happy with how all this came out. This rear end setup is ridiculously simple. I wanted it to be as simple as possible, and I can take it apart and put it back together in about 25 minutes, which is pretty good for if you need to service parts, if you have a problem on the side of the road, or whatever. Everything is going to be super easy to get to and serviceable. So I'm done for the day. I'm going to get cleaned up and go get some dinner with Kelly, maybe do some Christmas shopping. I don't know. But I have plenty of stuff that I still can do on this truck. I got exhaust, a couple other small things on the frame I got to clean up, and carrier bearing mount, stuff like that. And then, I don't know, maybe I'll start building the little faux bed. Who knows? Because that kind of has to be on there so that I can know what I'm going to do with the exhaust fully. So, yeah, we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.